been a fun show to this point. Still got a lot to come. Right now, though, I want to dive into who you're rooting for and against as a Commanders fan in the playoffs. So here's what I want to drill down on. It is my perception, certainly based on my social media timeline, but also based on some text exchanges I'm on with Commanders fans, that most of Commanders fans are rooting hard against Caleb Williams and Drake Maye. I don't even know if I would throw Bo Nix into the same conversation because I don't think that many people link him ahead of Jaden Daniels. But if you don't want Williams to go where Daniels hasn't gone, if you don't want Maye to do something Daniels hasn't done, whether that's win the MVP award or win a conference championship game or whatever, why wouldn't you also be rooting against Bo Nix, who made the playoffs last year? I think he was in the Pro Bowl, if memory serves, last year. I'm not saying he's as good as Daniels. He isn't. I think he is a product of his environment largely. He's a little bit overrated, honestly. Fairly limited player, but he does some good things. He has a very real chance to get to a Super Bowl in year 2. That would extrapolate out the conversation where already people are going Williams versus Daniels in a redraft. Who goes 1, 2, and 3? Does Maye go ahead of him? Does he not? Who do you take? I mean, Bo Nix, if he was to get to a Super Bowl, it only raises his stock. But I don't hear as much hate about Bo Nix.
No, so for me, just as a fan, the way I approach it is, I never had a chance to draft, not that I was drafting, you know what I mean? My team never had a chance to draft Caleb Williams. That was taken away from me, right? So that was not my choice. See what I'm saying? Like, that's gone from me, whether he succeeds,
fails. So you
fails.
don't care that much?
Not at all.
See, but I've always said that too. It does seem like the obsession. It was Bears fans last year when Jaden was lighting it up. They couldn't help themselves. They're finding every incompletion, and they're trying to point out any flaw. And maybe it's just a reaction to that.
Yeah, and that to me is how we got here. So for Bears fans to look with jealousy towards someone that they didn't choose and could have playing much better, I do that. When we got Chase Young and I'm watching Justin Herbert tear the league apart, I'm going, damn it.
So what's the excuse for Commanders fans with Caleb Williams then? There's like this. By the way, he's a local kid.
Yeah.
From the DMV, went to high school in our backyard, has represented pretty well as an NFL player, hadn't gotten in trouble, hadn't been out and about causing a ruckus. I think by and large is a pretty good story. It's 2 years. He's made major strides, major growth, dealt with a terrible coaching staff in year 1. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, it does very clearly seem like everybody's rooting against him.
So I think it's twofold. One, I think there was a pocket that might not have, that is now because of Bears fans constantly chirping and bothering, and all of a sudden that's on your radar now. And then there are some that just can't handle anybody completing a pass besides their guy.
I think that group is way bigger, or at least louder on social media. I don't know if it's real life large. Like, we'll see. We'll hit the phones on this in a second. 800-636-1067. But that's what I'm trying to touch the people on, what I want to know. Do you find yourself, Commanders fan, rooting against Caleb Williams in these playoffs, Drake Maye in these playoffs, maybe to a lesser extent, Bo Nix in this postseason? Because that is the case on social media online. Every time, I'm kind of viewed as this like Drake Maye guy or whatever. I made the mistake of having an opinion before the draft that I liked him and I love his game. It's like, yeah, in the same way that I root for Josh Allen or Joe Burrow or these guys that I really, really liked, Maye happened to be my favorite player to come out in the draft other than Joe Burrow over many, many years. So I root for him. I like his game. It's exactly kind of the prototype, a big, physical, strong-armed, really good thrower of the football in the pocket, who's athletic enough to make plays with his feet. It's what I really, really like. I'm sorry. You know what I mean? Like, I also like Jaden Daniels. Like, people never seem to care about that part. But having said that, every incompletion, my timeline's just full of like, what happened there?
Right.
When he threw a batted
it's like
ball.
You did it, yeah.
When he threw a batted ball interception the other night, it's like, oh boy, Drake Maye. And my question is that just a Twitter thing? It might be. In the same way that, like, not a real place, the worst commentary and analysis and the worst among us are the loudest, you know what I mean? It's just that it's really a cesspool. I get that. Is that not real life? Do you feel like the majority of Commanders fans are rooting against Caleb Williams? I do.
I don't think so.
You don't?
I do think it is a loud and vocal, weirdly defensive group that takes anything where I go, hey, who was more of a Jaden stan, to borrow from the parlance, than myself. If I said, Jaden missed that throw in the second quarter, bah! They can't handle that.
Yes.
So whoever that is, leading the world in defensiveness.
But that's 93% of the people we would hear from on Twitter.
Yeah.
What percent of the actual fan base is it?
I think a 1%.
Okay, so
I think it's the tiniest amount.
So your point is
Like, I don't think
it's so loud on social media, but it's not a real thing.
that's my view. I mean, for example, and again, it's not a scientific sample, but among my 45 to 48-year-old peers and friends, guys that I grew up with and friends with, that we still, keep in touch about sports. They care less about football than they used to, but they still do. Not one of them is going, damn it, I hate Caleb Williams, and I'm rooting against him. Not one. No one that I know in among the dads that I see all the time with their kids' sports or, again, watching football with this past weekend. Granted, we were watching Niners-Eagles, but there was never once a, God, I hope the Bears lose. Like, that was not on anybody's radar at any point in time.
So I've got
not scientific.
Yeah, I've been wanting to talk about this for weeks. I've got a lot of thoughts on this. And you can hop in 800-636-1067. The first thing I'll say is, and you can call this Press Box Paulson and dismiss and do all that stuff if you want to. I'm not going to be upset. But I do not relate to this way of thinking. It's just not the prism with which I watch sports and view the game. That I don't watch other players and other teams really and root. Like, do I dislike the Cowboys or the Eagles? Absolutely. Was I rooting like heck against the Eagles? For sure. But there's not players that I really hate. And certainly not in like some personal vendetta way because of my fandom for Washington. So like as an example, I can't really relate to someone who will root against Caleb Williams for his whole career because there's this perceived, not real, by the way, rivalry with Jaden Daniels. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes.
That's just not how my fandom or brain works. Same with Drake May. I happen to really like Drake May, but my point is, let's say I didn't like him coming out or whatever. Bo Nix is a better example because that's not my guy, right? So like Bo Nix, if he has a better career, if he wins more or has a better season than Jaden Daniels, it means nothing about Daniels to me. Daniels' situation is his own. Doesn't mean Bo Nix would do more here. Daniels, in his first year when he was healthy, was the best of all of them, was amazing, had one of the great years ever, and he proved if he's healthy and in the right situation, he can be an MVP caliber quarterback, special elite talent. This year, he didn't play at that level because he didn't practice a lot, and by the way, couldn't stay healthy. If he's healthy again next year, I think he'll be pretty good. The other part of this that's weird to me is it's not like you're in an unhappy relationship. Like this anger towards Maye, this anger towards Williams or Nix or whoever, I would get that if your friends are in these really happy relationships with girls that you wanted and didn't get or something, but you're miserable. You got it pretty good, man. Like, doth thou protest too much if you are so mad at all these other guys? Your guy's good. Why would I have so much venom and animosity and just general angst against these other quarterbacks if I'm really happy with my guy? And you should be, by the way. Now, if he doesn't stay healthy, that's a different story. If you think he's not good, which I think you're foolish if that's the case, I guess that's a different story. But if you watch the last 2 years and you feel like I do, Washington's got a franchise quarterback, going to get a second contract, going to be here for a long time as the starter, this is a really good player, why do you care that much what's going on elsewhere? You're pretty happy in your own house.
Yeah, but it's also, I understand fandom to a degree where you want your guy to be better, you want your team to be better. It's the way fans work with each other, especially if there are Patriots fans in your life and they're an infestation. They're everywhere now. Like you get chirped. You'd like to be able to have more things to point to. I understand that.
But I guess what I'm saying is, I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just trying to help level.
No, I got you.
I could do that with teams. Certainly. I get that. Not even as much as I'd like. I don't have the same venom where like you don't say Cowboys, you say Cow Pukes. I think that's like, I've always joked with you. It's like embarrassing or like childish or whatever. Mm-hmm. But like that's a bit. Like that's your thing and my thing. But like I root against the Eagles. I don't like them. I don't do that with players. And maybe that's a Press Box Paulson thing. I don't know.
Maybe it is, yeah. But I mean, I will tell you it's not the same as it used to be for me because guys change teams every 2 years.
And don't get me wrong, there are players in sports I don't like. Like, I don't want good things to happen for Antonio Brown if he were to keep playing in the NFL. I think he's a terrible human being. There are people that just are above reproach for me where I go, like, we're getting close with, I don't know what, innocent until proven guilty. But Rashee Rice has like one more strike or two more strikes for me until I'm just like, I hope that guy doesn't catch any more passes. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like, he's not there yet, but I'm saying you can get there. But for me, it's not ever like because that guy didn't sign here. Here's another example. If you're rooting against the Bears because you don't like Ben Johnson, that one I get. There's this very personal Washington element to that.
Yeah.
I'm not anti-Ben Johnson or I don't feel like, they were wrong because I think there's way more, we've talked about this a lot. I think there's way more to that story than just the big bad mean guy told them no and, they did everything correctly. Having said that, if your point is that jackass who's had a bunch of examples of being a jerk called them to break up with them on the phone, a.k.a. while they were driving to his house. And that's unacceptable? I totally get that. There's nothing like that with Caleb Williams in Washington.
Right.
There's nothing like that with Drake Maye or Bo Nix. It's like the Ben Johnson one I can kind of get down with, honestly.
Yeah, like again, it's not the same as it used to be because of free agency and the way the game has changed. But like my least favorite player of all time was John Runyon for the Eagles. I thought he was dirty. I remember him spearing LeVar after, when he was like laying helplessly on the ground and then just kind of was like, what? I was just playing hard. And now he's in charge of like discipline for the league, which drives me insane, by the way, as a quick side note. Scumbag. I could not stand that guy. All-time least favorite player. I have fewer and fewer of those now. I don't know if it's my age or the way the league is, but I used to, like, there were a dozen Cowboys I could just rattle off. Like, if I hear the name Jay Novacek, I break out in hives. You had to hear the announcer, his hands are so good, he holds for the field goals, guys. How many tight ends in the league are doing that? Ugh. That stupid hair. I hate that guy. Because it's 3rd and 7, he's making a catch. It's first down them. Yeah. Michael Irvin cheated every time he caught a pass. He pushed off every single time, numbers approximate. That guy drives me crazy. So, yeah, I don't have that as much anymore.
Here's my best comp I can come up with. Because for me, hockey is always my crazy person sport, like where I still mark out, fan out, whatever. I hate Brad Marchand, like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Ovi versus Crosby. For so long, forever, I did root against every point, every goal for Crosby was like a dagger to the chest because I'm like, people are going to say he's better. People are going to say he's better. At this point of my life, I don't care. And they're both great in their own ways. Does that make sense?
It does, yeah. But at the time...
And the same thing with Brady and Manning. I was always such a Peyton Manning mark.
There you go.
And Tom Brady was always like, no, he's better. And people will still tell you he's the GOAT of all time because of the Super Bowls. And I just got to a point in my life where I'm like, if people are going to say he's better because he's won more Super Bowls, cool, I guess. Like, there's nothing I can do about that. I've got my reality, the way I see the world. It works. I think Peyton Manning's the greatest quarterback to ever live. Everyone else is going to say it's Tom Brady and I'm crazy. But, like, I didn't root against Tom Brady in the end that same way, essentially. I don't know what changed for me, but that definitely did, like, from a player standpoint.
Yeah, there's something to it. Maybe it's fantasy sports for me, honestly. Maybe it's gambling. I have no idea. But I have softened in that way. Like, I had, of my 7 fantasy teams this year, I had CeeDee Lamb on 2 of them. And there were years where I would get in leagues. I started a league among my friends. I had a rule. You were not allowed to draft Eagles or Cowboys. If you did, those players would be stripped from your team and you wasted your draft pick. Like, I did years of leagues like that because it made me like the idea that somebody among my friend group was going to be celebrating a Freddie Mitchell touchdown against, or you know what I mean, like against Washington. Yeah, just made me so irate that I banned it from my fantasy league.
Jason Avant.
Yeah,
remember him? Do you guys are all on, I'm sure, text threads like I am. I mean, are your friends actively rooting against the other quarterbacks that are in Jaden's draft class, or do you think that's just a social media, not real world thing?
It's definitely just a social media thing. Like, we actually were talking about it the other day in my little buddy group chat, and people were rooting for Drake Maye, and these are Commanders fans. These are people who believe that Jaden Daniels is better than Drake Maye, and they're rooting for the Patriots. And there's other guys rooting for Bo Nix and Caleb Williams because he's from the DMV area. Like, I think this is just a social media thing, and I think that kind of group out there is just a very loud one, but I also think it's kind of a minority out of all the people.
Yeah, social media is definitely just more negative naturally, and where a lot of that venom's going to live, too.
Yeah, I don't know anybody personally who's actively rooting against either of the 2 quarterbacks. I think, if anything, there's probably a little more animus towards Caleb just because of, the way that their season spiraled last year and our season spiraled this year off of losing to them. I think there's some of that there might be a real rivalry at some point between these 2, the 1 and 2. But other than that, no, I don't know anybody who's like actively rooting against Drake Maye just because.
Bears fans were a lot last year in the Williams versus Daniels thing. But I also wonder,
very defensive, very
But how much of that is the perception of it too, from us and what we see from our standpoint, whereas they might have seen it very differently in Chicago. I don't know.